What's up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new interview here today on Fightful Overbooked. I'm Corey Brennan here with the TNT World Champion, Mr. Tate Mayfairs. How are you doing today, Tate?
Very good, man. Thank you for having me. Normally I do all of these. I do quite a lot of podcasts, and if you watch my stuff, you know my stuff. I'm quite a loud character, let's say. But I feel like for the most part, while we're here, I feel like being a little bit more, let's say, myself. So thank you for having me, and let's get into it, man. Let's talk about it.
No problem at all, man. We will get into it. And first thing, the big thing, obviously, you've kind of usurped a lot of people who were planning on bringing a championship to Softground Pro Wrestling. Uh, just first of all, how did that come to pass? Like, how much went into that? Was it a moment where you were like, right, I have a free day, I'm going to make my way over, or was it a long-standing plan?
It was quick. And the wrestling industry, a lot of things move quick, right? I think not so long ago, we all kind of caught the everyone caught the attention and the eyes looking at Softground Pro Wrestling. Like, this just incredible, man. It shows like what pro wrestling is at its core. It doesn't matter about the who and the where and the circumstances and the production. What pro wrestling is something deeper than that. It's like love for this thing. Anyway, we all saw it. We all took enamored of it, and I was thinking to myself, like, "Wow, that's really, really cool. Good for them." And then when I saw like Shima go there, I was like, "Oh wow, it's possible to." I was like, "Wouldn't it be really cool if I went?" And then MXM went, and I was like, "Oh wow, it's really, it really picked up then." And I was like, "Well, I've got this World Heavyweight Championship. I've been making a thing with it over since I won it in September. I was saying I'm going to make this the most important belt, and I've defended it more places internationally than any other world champion currently in professional wrestling. Like, includes WWE, AEW, the lot. Like, I've actually taken this belt to more countries and done more defenses. And I was like, this just marries up perfectly. This is something that I want to do. It marries up with what I'm doing professionally, and I know that the reason I'm even in this position is because wrestling is a giving industry. I've only got there because people saw in me a passion that I have for wrestling, and then they gave me opportunity, they gave me hope, they gave me knowledge, which I was then able to go on with. I was like, if I could go over there and give them a world title match, it would be great for the wrestler who I'm in there with, because I know that I grew from wrestling up better wrestlers and other wrestlers. I can train them. I can give them not, because there's some things that I see as a professional. I'm like, we could fix up a few things here, be safer for them, like get more out of things for them. And I just want to find out what it's all about. I want to see on the ground what's going on out there. I've been a wild man in my time. I've traveled around. I'm not scared of getting in the sticks. I just shot them a message, and a week and a half later, I was in the middle of Mokano, Uganda, covered in mud.
And just like you mentioned it there in the sticks, it's a much different environment than you're used to wrestling. And like, just obviously it's their whole thing right now. Obviously they're trying to get a ring, but for you personally, what was that kind of like to go from wrestling inside different sizes of wrestling rings and so on to go from that to the soft ground nature of SGW?
Yeah, and actually, quickly, what I remember, it was related to the first thing you asked. I didn't have a free day. It sat in the middle of my dates. Like, the week
Yeah.
before, I had 5 shows. As soon as I landed, and then I went to Uganda on the Monday. So I did 5 shows over the week. Monday morning, flew to Uganda, spent time with them, wrestled in Uganda, and then I flew back and I landed in London on the Saturday. And on the Saturday morning, I then changed my bags around and went straight to another show in the UK. So I just made it work in the middle there. Well, I forget the second bit. The second question was you're saying
Uh,
how it differs.
how the soft ground differs to traditional wrestling ring.
I mean, you could take one look at it
Yeah.
immediately, and see some pretty obvious differences. But you know what? Everyone's asking me about the bump. You know, everyone's asking me like, what is the bump like? Well, let me tell you. Anytime you bump, no matter what the setting, it hurts. You can't fake pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I'll say this as well, though. I've bumped in rings that hurt a lot more than it did. I've also worked rings where the ropes are worse than that. So yeah, it's great, and I think it adds a lot of charm and character and USP, like uniqueness to it all. The way that they've got it set up, and yeah, more facility. I think they're going to keep some of that because it's part of their identity. But then there are also plans to get an actual ring as well and do that. But I mean, again, wrestling is very imaginative in its own right, and that again speaks to that essence.
I do have to say, like, there was a lot of talk from many champions, including like Will Ospreay was saying it. There's just everyone saying that they were planning on bringing a championship to SGW. Obviously, MXM were there. You mentioned they didn't bring a title. They just went on their own accord. They could have. They have championships, we know that, but you were the first one to bring a championship in and kind of have it on your shoulder as you were doing it. So, what did that mean to you? Obviously, you're nearly 250 days into your reign as TNT World Champion. So, was that something that stands out as a highlight in your reign?
Of course,
Or okay. Broad question. The highlight, is it the highlight? Okay, so let's make it a little harder for you to answer that one.
Well, let me just obviously, of course, it is, and from a selfish professional thing, like I've been saying, I'm the greatest wrestler ever walked planet Earth. I've been saying that I'm the most legitimate world champion. I mean, those kind of things legitimize that claim even more so. You take even more so. From a personal thing as well, growing up, I admired Ric Flair and being the real world heavyweight champion, traveling around and wrestling everywhere,
Yeah.
And he was the guy that you would go to any town and wrestle whoever the best was and have a great match with them, no matter how much wrestling that town had how good that local wrestler was, or how big of a, that's to me kind of the real magic of being a really good wrestler, is being able to go wrestle everywhere and wrestle anyone and have great shows and basically give to that scene, that person, that's something to help it grow and elevate it and bring it up. So for that reason as well, it's the most important thing for me because of what I could give them. And I knew that going in, but it hit so much harder when I was truly there, to see the way that I was welcomed and to speak with all of these kids one-on-one and see how much it meant to them that I would come there and teach them and wrestle with them and give them my time and give them my money. I don't know. It's different when you think of these things, and again, it all happened very quickly. I spoke to the guy, and a week and a half later, I was there, and it was beautiful. The guy I wrestled for the TNT World Heavyweight Championship, Jordan Lovering. He said to me before I left, he said, "Tate, I'll never forget this," and it means a lot because I know that a lot of these people have never left the
never left the area kind of way. Yeah,
and I'll be honest with you as well as what I said about the ring comparative to over the UK. Jordan Lovering is a very good wrestler.
Yeah,
a very, very good wrestler.
Absolutely.
Before I even got there, watch back the stuff. See, I don't want to give away too much of the behind the curtain things of how things work. I'm already kind of doing it in the way I'm speaking with you,
Yeah.
but like it deserves that kind of level of respect and openness. Like he posts for things, he sells things, he moves around so much better than a lot of the people I wrestle around the world and he's not had any proper formal training.
Yeah.
Honestly, there are people here who have the potential. The world is their oyster, and as many people who can come over and give more training and give more resources and inspire and give hope there, this could grow exponentially. And I think that I think Jordan Lovin's an incredible wrestler. I really, really, I'm going to push for him to come over to the UK, the Europe, whatever I can to help that. But he is another one of many that I do believe that somewhere in Softground wrestling, there's a future world heavyweight champion. There's a superstar there, and by giving resources and money and hope to all of these orphans there, at the very least, you give them something fun, something safe that they can do, and you help them along. Two, yeah, you may see someone come out of this and become so big in wrestling, and the effects of that not only change that individual's lives and their families or friends around them, their community around them, but it inspires every single one of those kids in Uganda, every single one of those kids in nearby Africa, and people around the world go, wow, okay, you can really
Make a
grow.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did mention it there, obviously, the fundraise and stuff and so on. And we were talking before we started recording. Obviously, you have set up a fundraiser for SGW, and you've only just you were saying you're just setting up this morning. So, do you want to tell people? Well, we'll include it in the description, but do you want to just talk a little bit about just why it was so important to you to set it up?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, our lives are so different than it is out there. For 20 quid, like, you'll live very well for a day out there, like very, very well for a day. You know what I mean? It's obviously massive amounts of difference in terms of like what a dollar will get you.
Yeah.
And I gave everything I had. I've got nothing left right now, but I'll make it back. You know what I mean? But like, I was out there, I managed to buy, as well as supporting the owner and like paying for my way out there and all the rest of it. I was also able to like buy a month's worth of food and supplies for the whole village. That like,
Fair play. Fair play.
which and it's the difference in money makes it easier to
Yeah.
do that. You know, they don't have any like knee pads or training gear. Like,
They're just a passion and a dream.
I saw the water and the electricity cut out multiple times that I was there, and they're just kind of like, yeah, it happens. Like, we'll just have to wait for it. Sometimes it's gone for days. I'm like, okay, that's what they're dealing with. I saw them training, and there's a few water bottles. I brought water bottles with me, but like, it's not like there's readily available water, and if it cuts out, they just kind of hold out. It's crazy. Obviously, they're acclimatized to it a bit because they don't
Yeah.
for it. But I saw a guy laying down in the shade, sleeping off his potential malaria. Like, it's so different. And if we can raise money, whatever money it is, it can go towards food. It can go towards like water and better like services for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, get what you mean.
Fundamental, like, infrastructure to make that better. They're sleeping on like mattresses on the floors. We could make that better. We can make the ring better. We can get a van for them. We can actually buy the land that they're on, because at the moment they're like renting it off of this landlord, but the landlord's like trying to sell it elsewhere and trying to get them off the ground.
Yeah.
So if that goes, that'll be rough. You know what I mean? So anything we can give, it could like really set up that even more. Let's get better like sleeping facilities, food, medicine, water, get the land so it's secured, all of that stuff. It will make a huge difference.
And just one or two more questions about Softground.
Yeah, bro.
One man that we haven't talked about is the man who, at least in storyline anyway, brought you in to Softground, Mr. Lord White. He was
Yo,
very proud to announce you coming, and obviously that storyline is kind of like during the biggest storyline in their like promotion. Like they're putting so much effort into it, and for me personally, I find it to be highly entertaining. I was very surprised to see him pull you out of the hat now, but that was part of the fun of it. But just like for that is it's such a raw storyline. I feel like in a sense, and just to be part of that, like what was that like for you to be part of something that was such a like raw storyline?
oh man, the stars aligned in a lot of ways with this trip. It's kind of like in terms of the timing of everything. Um, I don't know, it just worked out perfectly. It was another one of many pieces that I was just like, well, that just works perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Obviously he's such a huge character there, and that was like a perfect way to bring me in. And that was Boombash Daniel's idea. This man who runs it, Daniel, he's a smart guy, brother. Like he's a really good wrestling mind. And yeah, he was like, "Oh, I have this idea. You come in for him." I was like, "Yeah, that's perfect."
yeah,
And then in terms of timing as well, is like they just when they got me from the airport, they were like, "Oh, we got to stop by and pick up this belt." And so they've got their first SGW title, and I said, "Well, listen, this is perfect because then I want to defend the TNT title, and like ain't nobody on the world gonna beat me for that, and but I want to give back as well. Like, let's do a match. Let's do a match. Maybe I'm giving away a little, but like they've then set up a tournament, and in the final, whoever gets to the final is going to fight me, and we'll crown who is going to be the SGW champion. So maybe me and Lord White will be reigning supreme, holding all the belts. But we're going to find that out in the next couple of weeks. It's going to go up then. But the timing of everything worked out perfectly. Like that. I'm so glad that I got to make history with them twice, give them their first world heavyweight title match, and then be a part of crowning the first SGW champion. So, yeah.
and just one final question: Are you planning to go back to for soft ground, or is that something that's just it's in the future, but it's not in your plans right now?
Sure. I mean, listen, I landed literally a couple of days ago. I did a show,
I know, yeah.
and then I've set up this fundraiser, but I didn't feel like it's a one and done. Still got to go out for this world title match. So there's that, and I'm invested in what they're doing out there, and I would love to help out as much as I can. I'm obviously gonna got a busy wrestling schedule as it is. The TNT World Heavyweight Championship, I'm taking that around the world. I'm wrestling all over. I'm wrestling independently, multiple companies. I've got the US visa now. I'm wrestling out there in America. Got things going on, but I definitely want to come back to Uganda. I want to help out as much as I can, and I definitely see that on the cards. Just don't have another thing booked right immediately.
And just we'll talk about more about your reign as TNT World Champion. Like you said, you've been defending it all over the world. You've been in Belgium. You've been defending it in Britain. You've been defending it basically anywhere you can, like you said. And is there any countries that stand out to you that you haven't been to yet, even before your title reign, where you would like to bring the title and defend it? And is there any wrestlers in that country that stand out to you as possible challenger?
I'm gonna put out an open challenge to the world. I've been meaning to do it, and then this trip came up.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put out an open challenge to the world. I want to see who fancies it, who the audience want to see it against. Certainly, Japan is a big one that I want to do some stuff with. Now, there's some things that aren't public yet that I can't talk about.
Of course,
I'm
of course.
really working with some companies, and we'll see what comes of it. But certainly that, and Mexico as well. Obviously, I've got the US visa now. I'm thinking of trying to make a Mexico and US trip like work within the same sort of dates. Two international names jumped to my mind straight away. One of them I wrestled before, and that's Jordan Oliver. We wrestled it when GCW versus TNT a couple of years ago. He got the better of me on that one occasion. It was a quick little roll up out of nowhere. Since then, I've gone on to become undefeated at Progress Wrestling, TNT World Heavyweight Champion, the most legitimate world champion in professional wrestling today, and that is a fact. And me and him are yet to get in the ring. We teased a little bit about doing a 1 hour Ironman. It ended up with Joey Janela and Nick Wayne ended up like kind of doing that recently themselves. I think me and Jordan Oliver would have a fantastic match anywhere, anytime in the world. I need that rematch. Another one who's been teased and spoke about is Angle Blanc from France. Now, I've crossed each other's path in person twice over in France. He's coming over to the UK to be a part of Super Strong Style 16. At the moment, we don't face each other in the initial round. How the rest of the tournament goes, I don't know. But he's someone who we've had run-ins and we've had chatter online, and I want to test myself against him as well. Show him he ain't nothing like me.
And you mentioned it there. Obviously, the Progress Super Strong Style tournament. You were in it last year as well. Are you looking forward to it again this year? Is this a tournament that is something that is very important to you? And if you do win it, what comes next for Tate Mayfairs? Because that's two big English promotions where you are up there as one of the top stars.
Well, the top star. I already am the top star at TNT, and let's be honest, I already am the top star at Progress. They sold out the unboxing show, which is normally a show which is like you don't know who's going on, whatever. But they had to announce me versus Simon Miller as the street fight, and that's what sold out. It's one of the only sales out in recent history at the ballroom, and that's because of me. Thank you very much. And I've been carrying the flag of that company on my back for a long time. Talk about Super Strong Style 16, 2 years ago. I took the open challenge from Anthony Ogogo, and yes, he knocked me out in the middle of the ring after the match. I kept calling him back. It was a bit of a thing, but there we go. I grew from that. Yeah. I beat the imports they brought over. I beat the Effies. I got into the MPS. I got to the final of the MPS. I faced Ricky Knight Jr. I won the title in Dubai. I continued on and continued. I called out Ospreay. I fought Ospreay. It didn't go my way last year at Strong Style, but that was the last time it didn't go my way, because from that moment, I have been undefeated at Progress Wrestling in singles action. I've become the top guy at Progress Wrestling, whether or not I hold the belt or not. Everyone knows it's a fact. I am the TNT World Heavyweight Champion, the most legitimate World Heavyweight Champion in professional wrestling entirely today. I'm in the final already by proxy at the SGW SGW Championship. I see myself in the final of Super Strong Style 16, and I see myself taking it and becoming Big Daddy champ. 2 belts, Tate, holding the 2 most important belts in British wrestling today. And that's what I foresee. Yeah, for sure.
And I think there is one man who might dispute that statement about the 2 biggest world titles in British wrestling, Mr. Michael Oku, currently the British Heavyweight Champion, someone you haven't stepped into the ring with before.
No, that's a lie. We have.
Have you? Okay. Yeah. Well,
guess who won?
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then
1-0 Tate Mayfairs.
Is there
anytime, anywhere, any place, Michael Oku? Andy if you've got the nuts, fucking call me up then. Let's run it. But I don't think they can. I don't think they will.
Me personally, I'd love to see that, but just moving on, then, like I did ask about around the world, but obviously the UK scene and by proxy, kind of the Irish scene, they're interconnected in a lot of ways. Is there any desire for you to come over here to Ireland, OTT, RCW, and so on?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. OTT is on the radar, 100%. I ain't gonna lie, I got a bit jealous. I have had on my list for this year. I wrote down Nick Nemeth, that's the name I want, and I saw that he's over there, and
Yeah,
it's good for the lads. Like I think Derice and LJ have got him right.
yeah, two
Happy
big
for them.
matches.
Wish it was me instead, but very happy for them, and it will be. Like both those things will come about. I'm sure of it. OTT, I'll be there eventually, and Mayfairs versus Nick Nemeth again. It will happen both this year, I predict.
And you brought it up there. You've got your list of people you want to face this year. Is there any other big names to stand out on that list right now that not realistic, but you do see as a real possibility this year? Even if it's just something you hope, honestly, it doesn't need to be something that you definitely think might happen. And he's going for his list.
Trying to look over it, got it all on a whiteboard. But no, I've said what I've said for the minute. Like the rest,
Yeah.
let it all unfold. That's the beauty of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jordan Oliver rematch. Angle Blanc, those will be bangers. I want to do obviously more stuff in Japan. I want to go to Japan and Mexico. I want to do more stuff in America. I've got my visa now. I'm in talks of things out there. I've got the TNT World title. I'll be going around the world. Nick Nemeth, you're on the list too. OTT, you're on the list. And just sharing, and then also, raising the money for SGW and doing whatever I can there to fly that flag and get some of them guys up and out. You know what? I'll take a rematch with Jordan Lovren over in Europe. Let's run that back over this way.
That'd be a lot of fun, man. And obviously, I feel bad here. I've asked you about Ireland. I've asked you about the rest of Europe. I've asked you about the US would be and SGW would be in TNT champion. But obviously, TNT itself has quite a stacked roster in itself of people who are constantly competing. Is there anyone that stands out to you in TNT itself? Like, for example, obviously, Session Martina would be a fun intergender match. I feel like she's always at the TNT shows. You've got the GCW show coming up as well, so there's a lot coming up for TNT, and just in general, is also what you see coming next for TNT. Obviously, with you as the face of the promotion, obviously.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a good shout. I mean, recently we did we had the GCW crossover shows for the last couple of years. We got we had recently the BZW crossover show in Belgium, where I successfully beat Tristan Archer. It's coming over again at the start of June. We've got TNT BZW in Liverpool this time, and I'll be defending the TNT World Heavyweight title against the new darling of Brit Rest, with his chain and his fur coat. Connor Mills has been on a tear up on the scene lately. A guy who I've very rarely been in the ring with, a guy who I respect as a wrestler, but no one's taking this belt from me. No one's taking this belt from me. I have made this belt more relevant than any other championship in professional wrestling right now. You know, I have taken this ball and I have run with it. I've defended it in more countries around the world than any other title. I've restored it to its glory. Formerly held by Gunther, formerly held by JD McDonough, formerly held by Bullet Club's Dan Maloney, and now held by me. Mills is on a tear up. That's great, but I'm going to tear his head off. And what comes after that with TNT, I don't know. Like I think, like you say, like Effie and such are coming over, like Bussy are coming over. I think there may be some more GCW stuff. I want to defend this against some former champions. I see Leon Slater had the belt for a minuscule of a second before it was cashed in on him, the same way that I cashed in on Shane Monet. Leon Slater is a guy who's blowing up onto the scene, and he's a guy who I've fought before. I've not got the victory I want, and if I say I'm the greatest, which I know I am, and Lord knows you will do too, I gotta get that win back against Leon. So I wanna defend the title against him. I also want to defend the title against a former OG champion in Mark Haskins. I think that would be a fun match too. Now, if these things happen, how they formulate, if either of them got the bottle, then we'll see about it. But
they would they would definitely both be absolutely incredible matches, I'm sure. And I do want to talk about one topic before we finish up. Obviously, you were one of the many British wrestlers who did have a run on NXT UK. It's been 2 years, nearly 3, since your time in NXT UK. But obviously, with the NXT Europe, supposedly it was supposed to launch last year, but it's still kind of in limbo mode. Is that something that does interest you down the line, or are you are you happy where you are now based off your previous experience with NXT UK?
Listen, WWE is the best wrestling company I've ever worked for in my life. Hands down, easy, longest yard, like so easy to like. It's night and day. It's the difference between wrestling on a mud ring and wrestling on a wrestling ring. Like that's the difference between the Indies and WWE. Now that said, it's not the be all and end all.
No.
I am making a full-time living off professional wrestling. I'm very happy. I'm very healthy. I'm doing things that are very creatively fulfilling for me. I'm doing things that are very like in life fulfilling for me. What I done in SGW wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. So I'm having a great time. I'm loving life. I'm loving what I do. I want to where I foresee myself. I have a vision of what I want to achieve, and what I will achieve, and it's on the same level as WWE, but it's not necessarily and like a major company, but it's not necessarily reliant on them. So I will continue on my path and doing what I'm doing, and let like God guide me, and let the passion of wrestling guide me, and just see what comes of it. If WWE put down an offer in front of me and it looks good, I'm taking it. Same with any company that offers something really good, you know, I'm gonna take it, but it's not the be all and end all. I've got this World Heavyweight Championship. I'm pushing out loads of content. I'm creating loads of great stories. Having lots of great matches. I'm making a living. I'm making helping raise awareness for other things going on. Just watch and see what happens.
And before we do finish up, Tate, do you want to just tell people? Obviously, you're a busy man, as you mentioned. A lot of dates going on. Any coming up in the next week or two, and where people can find you on social media?
Yeah, on social media it's easy. I got it down. It's Tate Mayfairs for everything. So the whole lot. And yeah, upcoming, like I'm taking this one off, but then next week it's like super strong style season. So there's that. God, and then after that, there's literally 6 shows in a week. So it's like strong style. Also wrestling in Hackney Wick on the Tuesday. Thursday is Rumble, and then on the weekend of that it's the TNT BZW weekender, and that's just that's just 1 week in the life. It's last month I don't know how many dates, but I was wrestling quite often, like 5 matches in a week. I had 5 countries in the month. It's all go. I love it, man.
And guys, if you do want to donate to Tate's GoFundMe, it will be in the description below. If you do want to go, obviously there's a lot of fundraisers for SGW, but everything helps with them, as we all know. And guys, if you are new to Fightful Overbooked, make sure to subscribe. I'll be doing more interviews than ever going forward. And make sure to go follow Tate, because he is absolutely killing it on the UK scene. And thank you so much for joining me for this interview, Tate.
No problem. Everybody, check it out. It's the links provided below. I feel it's so different for me. I gotta say, you gotta check out my other stuff and see how locked into character I usually am, but it just doesn't feel natural to do with some of the topics we talked about today. That so it's a unique one for me. I hope I come across well, because I'm normally in such a Tate Mayfairs, but you're getting a little bit more of the real Tate today. So thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully it pushes for the more important things in life, which is, getting some resources out there for these kids in SGW, and the knock-on effect of that could be huge for a lot of people. So fuck yeah, that's what I'm about.
All right, that's the end of this interview, guys. I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.